Dear Diary, this is the worst day of my life. I thought things couldn't get any worse after Halloween, but I was wrong. It's my own fault. Now everyone hates me. Hi, I'm Linda. When I was a kid, my mother left me with my grandmother and left with her boyfriend. My grandma was afraid I would end up like my mom, so she was always very strict with me. Stay away from boys! It wasn't like boys were interested in me. Just look at me. Typical nerd, right? I'd always studied well and was even considered the best student at school. After classes, I often helped the principal with the documents. Of course, the teachers adored me, and my classmates made fun of me. I did everything my grandmother told me, but one day I finally disobeyed her. See that guy? His name is Alex. I was secretly in love with him. Ridiculous, isn't it? He was way out of my league. But one day, everything changed. It was a very ordinary day. I was about to go home when Alex's friend John suddenly came up to me. Could you help me with math? I'm completely lost. Yes, of course, I'll help you. I had to stay after school after classes to explain the new topic to John. He was so grateful he suggested something unexpected. Let's go to a cafe. All of my friends are there. I was speechless. Alex was John's friend, so he would be there too. Of course, I immediately agreed, and my guesses were confirmed. We sat at the same table and chatted. Well, everyone chatted except for me. I froze up when I saw Alex. After the cafe, John decided to walk me home. I felt like someone was watching me. It was so strange. When we were a block away from my house, I stopped. You should go now. I don't want my grandma to see us. John nodded and suddenly tried to kiss me. I was so surprised I jerked back. Sorry, I gotta go. My grandmother was waiting for me in the hallway. She looked unhappy. Where were you? My class went to the archaeological museum. Grandma looked at me suspiciously, and I quickly fled to my room. I made an entry in my diary and wrote down my thoughts. I wondered why John had invited me to the cafe. Did he really like me? I wondered if I should have kissed him after all. I was afraid to go to school after all that. What if John was angry? However, nothing seemed to have changed. At recess, another friend of Alex's, Steve, suddenly came up to me. He smiled and sat down next to me. What's up, Linda? You look great today. Wait a minute, was he flirting with me? John suddenly sat next to me and put his arm around my shoulders. Hey, leave her alone, got it? I didn't understand what was going on. Why was he suddenly paying attention to me? I came home on time but got in trouble anyway. I called the school and found out everything. You didn't go to a museum yesterday? Damn it. I tried to come up with an excuse, but nothing came to mind. You lied to me. No pocket money for a week. I went up to my room, opened my diary, and poured out my emotions. Then, Steve suddenly video called me. I'm doing biology homework. Can you help me? I was doing that when Steve suddenly started flirting with me again. Can you imagine? Let's go for a walk. It's already late. It's fine. Do you want me to pick you up? My dad lets me take his car. Was I dreaming? It couldn't really be happening. A door suddenly slammed behind me. Oh no, I'd forgotten to close it. I hung up, but Grandma had already seen Steve. So that's what you've been up to, chatting to boys instead of studying. I finally got angry. I am the smartest girl and the best student at my school. I'm already 16. I can talk to whoever I want. I just want you to be safe. You can't watch over me forever. In the end, we had a fight. I felt terrible. For the next week, John kept trying to kiss me. It was getting annoying, and I wanted him to leave me alone. But then something unexpected happened. Just imagine. Another guy started hitting on me. He was a friend of John and Alex as well. I wondered what had gotten into them. I realized you were a cool girl, and then my friends did as well. Linda, you're very beautiful. It's just that you're very shy. At first I didn't know how to react, but soon I felt more confident. Could I really be pretty? I used to spend days poring over textbooks, but now I often looked in the mirror, changed hairstyles, and even tried putting on makeup. I was opening up and learning how to flirt back. I hoped Alex would soon notice me too. Why couldn't he like me if the other 3 boys did? I wrote about it all in my diary. One day I came home and was about to make another entry when I suddenly realized it had disappeared. I searched my entire room and bag but couldn't find it. I got upset and went down to the kitchen for a snack. As I was walking through the living room, I suddenly saw something. Grandma was sitting in a chair and reading my diary. I was horrified and immediately snatched it out of her hands. It's personal. How could you read it? You should be careful with those boys. They're definitely up to something. I was furious. Is it really so hard to believe that they could like me? Enough of this. You're grounded. Staying at home was unbearable. We kept fighting. However, things at school were fine. I felt popular. 3 handsome guys liked and dreamed of kissing me. One day, a real miracle happened. Can you guess what it was? Alex finally noticed me and asked me out. I was over the moon. However, I was still grounded. I decided to go on a date with Alex no matter what. While Grandma was resting in her room, I carefully got out of the house. Alex and I walked in the park, fed the ducks, and talked. I didn't want the evening to end and let Alex walk me all the way to the porch. If only I'd known what would happen next. Grandma was already waiting for me there.
Linda, I am very disappointed in you. Don't bring boys here again.
Why are you shouting? This is wrong.
This doesn't concern you. Stay away from my granddaughter.
I wanted to sink through the floor. After Alex had left, I told my grandmother everything I thought of her. We had a big fight and didn't talk to each other for several days. Despite my grandmother's words, I continued hanging out with Alex. We had a lot in common. He even sneaked into my room through the window to spend time with me. Soon we found out there was going to be a Halloween dance at school. I was invited by 4 guys. Naturally, I chose Alex. Before leaving, I wanted to make an entry in my diary, but it had disappeared again. Grandma had probably taken it. I was furious. Why did you take my diary? Hadn't you read everything last time?
Linda,
I'm sick of this. I can't wait to grow up and move out. Now I understand why Mom ran away from you. The words just slipped out. I immediately regretted them, but I couldn't swallow my pride and apologize. Grandma called me several times while I was on my way to school, but I didn't answer. Alex met me at the door. We were together the entire evening and danced a lot. At some point, we were slow dancing. Alex pulled me to him. His lips were so close. A second passed and we kissed. Butterflies fluttered in my stomach. The music suddenly stopped. John took the DJ's place and picked up the microphone.
Congratulations, Alex, you've won.
What was he talking about? My friends and I bet who would be the first to kiss Linda.
Alex won.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Alex couldn't have. I immediately noticed how tense and guilty he looked. What, was it true? We watched them on the date, so that was why it had felt like someone was watching us. But the odds were unequal from the start. Here, look. Photos of pages from my diary suddenly appeared on the big screen. All of my entries, every word about Alex and the other guys.
Isn't she sweet?
Oh, Alex, I love you so much. I want to date you. I froze in place and silently stared at the screen. John read out the lines from the diary and commented on them mockingly. Everyone was laughing. I started crying. At some point, I couldn't stand it any longer and ran away. Alex caught up to me and tried to stop me, but I pushed him away.
It was all you? You sneaked into my room to steal my diary, didn't you?
He tried to say something, but I didn't listen. I was in for another terrible news at home. Grandma felt sick after our talk and was taken to the hospital. I went straight to her. It was all my fault. I spent the night by her ward. In the morning, she felt better, and I was allowed to see her.
I'm sorry. I'm such an idiot. You were right. They were all lying to me.
Grandma was discharged a few days later. I didn't go to school. I had no idea how to go back. I was a laughingstock. You need to be strong. You can't drop out of school. I had to pluck up my courage and go. As expected, everyone laughed at me, especially John. I tried not to pay any attention to him and also not look at Alex, even though he wasn't laughing at me with everyone. It didn't make me feel any better. I was furious with all 4 of them. After school, I went to the principal's office as always. I was about to sort through the documents when a woman suddenly came up to me. "You're Linda, right?" "My name is Mrs. Brown. I'm the substitute principal. The students at the school are really out of control, so I'm going to introduce some new rules, and you will make sure everyone follows them." The new rules were very unexpected. Mrs. Brown told everyone to wear uniforms. We couldn't run, listen to music, or even kiss at recess. Can you imagine? Naturally, everyone was outraged. Well, almost everyone. I liked the new rules. It was my chance to take revenge on everyone who laughed at me. Mrs. Brown gave me a lot of authority and made me her assistant. Everyone must listen to Linda. At first, the students ignored me, but I reported them to the new principal and they were severely punished. Soon they started to do as I said. Turn off the game. Kissing at school is forbidden. No uniform? Follow me. I liked to ruin my classmates' fun. I felt like a real queen ruling over her personal school. But what I loved most was punishing the 4 boys who bet on me. They were playing rugby at recess one day. "Put the ball away. It's not against the rules." "It is. A new rule has been added." "Let me guess. Did you just come up with it?" "Get on the floor and start doing push-ups. Now." The principal was passing by us, so they had to do as I said. I soon let 3 of them go, but I made Alex stay behind and suffer a bit longer. He shouldn't have stolen my diary. "Linda, let's talk. I did hang out with you because of the stupid bet at first, but then I realized I really liked you. You brought your diary to school one day and John stole it. It wasn't me, I swear." "Don't get distracted. Keep doing push-ups." I wanted to believe Alex, but I couldn't. I kept getting my revenge over the next few days. He was in the principal's office more often than any other student. One day, a classmate of mine ran up to me at recess. "Come with me. There's trouble in the parking lot." After the crowd had dispersed, I saw that Mrs. Brown's car looked terrible. Someone had spilled paint over it, scratched it, and pelted it with rotten eggs. I knew who to blame. John and his friends were standing nearby and grinning nastily. Alex wasn't with them. Before I knew it, Mrs. Brown had come out on the porch and gasped loudly. "Who did this?" "They did." "Actually, it was her. We saw Linda carrying a bucket of paint." "That was nonsense. Were they seriously trying to frame me?" "Let's ask the other students then." I thought my classmates would take my side, but everything went wrong. They suddenly pointed at me too. "Linda did it. We saw everything." Mrs. Brown believed them and was about to press charges for damaging her property. I was shocked and didn't know what to say. But then Alex came out of the crowd. "Mrs. Brown, I'm the one who did this. I've been punished a lot lately, so I decided to take revenge." "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you lying?" Soon Mrs. Brown called Alex's parents to school. Rumor had it he would be expelled. My classmates immediately started accusing me. "You're insufferable. How could you rat us out so many times? It's you who should be expelled, not Alex. I don't understand why he decided to save you." Absolutely everyone thought so. It was only at that moment that I realized I really had been awful lately. The boys had made fun of me, but how was what I did any better? After class, I managed to talk to Alex. "I lied for you. What they did was really messed up. I felt guilty. I'd bullied him so much, but he decided to help me anyway. It's a shame I'm going to be expelled. The car was seriously damaged. I'll probably be transferred to another school for troubled youth. I can wave going to a prestigious college goodbye." I came home miserable. Alex really liked me, but I ruined everything. I started a new diary entry. "Dear Diary, this is the worst day of my life. I thought things couldn't get any worse after Halloween, but I was wrong. It's my own fault. Now everyone hates me. Okay, Linda. Quit feeling sorry for yourself. You screwed up, so fix it." The next day, I resolutely walked into Mrs. Brown's office. "I did that to your car. Alex was just protecting me." Mrs. Brown looked at me incredulously and called my grandmother to school. Alex and his parents came as well. "Don't listen to Linda. It was all my fault." "Alex, thank you, but you don't need to protect me." Mrs. Brown looked from him to me and didn't know who to believe. I don't know how things would have ended if our biology teacher hadn't walked into the office. "I need to tell you something. My car was parked next to yours, Mrs. Brown. I have what happened yesterday on video. Here, take a look." The video showed John and his two friends scratching the car, spilling paint over it, and pelting it with eggs. So it was them after all. Alex and I were immediately left alone. Mrs. Brown called John and his friends to her office, and they were soon expelled. A couple of days later, the former principal came back and canceled all the stupid rules. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. I apologized to everyone I hurt. Soon I started getting along with my classmates. But the most important thing was that Alex and I started dating, and I introduced him to my grandmother. At first she wasn't thrilled, but then she admitted that Alex was a good guy. Do your parents let you date? Tell us in the comments down below.